Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is welcome to the Haji Show here on Facebook. Thank you for joining me and taking your time. I want to introduce you to two people that are, well, I know one of them very well. So I want to introduce Jessica Nelson. And I want to say that right. Mitchell. Well, I know one of them very well. Snyder. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes, you're correct.
Excellent. Thank you for joining me today. And the most important thing also as well we want to talk to you guys about, which is very, very important right off, is that uh, Jessica and both of them, Jessica and Mitchell and Jessica are both entrepreneurs and educators. They are based in Minneapolis. They are focused on creating a better world. Mitchell and Jessica are dedicated to giving children and families the best education possible, to close the education gap and empower all children and adults, which again is a conversation that I've had with Jessica before. It was a long, amazing conversation. So tell us about this. How do you plan, or how are you doing this? That you just as described, that you want to change the world through education and close the education. How do you plan on doing that? Can you talk to me about that, both of you? If any of you can answer.
Of course, and first, thank you, Haji, for having us both on the show. We appreciate the opportunity. So, Jessica and I have been entrepreneurs and educators for many years, and we've seen firsthand parents and the struggle that parents go through with supporting their kids to be able to learn and adapt and to be ready for the future. We appreciate the opportunity. So, this is the Haji that have been entrepreneurs and educators for many years, and we've seen firsthand parents and the struggle that parents go through with supporting their kids to be able to learn and adapt in your computer. We appreciate the opportunity. So, this is the Haji that have been entrepreneurs and educators for.
Okay, I've kind of lost a little bit of you. Can you repeat the last part again one more time?
Yeah. So, Jessica and I have seen firsthand the struggle that parents go through with trying to raise their kids. You know, parents want the best for their kids. And in a world that's increasingly changing with things like coronavirus or how jobs are being replaced by some technology, we're here to make sure that the children of today are ready for a world of fast change. And with doing that, Jessica and I have a business located in downtown Minneapolis where we not only provide tutoring and education services, but also opportunities for employment for people who want to be involved in education and to be able to make a real impact in families' lives and also be able to earn a good living from that as well. There's a tool that we use. It's called Technotutor. It's a software. And in simplest terms, it is the quickest and the best way for any child or adult to learn anything. Jessica, do you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a software that I actually started using myself about a year ago. And it has profoundly impacted my life and my confidence and my self-esteem, my ability to process more information, to see more of what's going on in the world, to see more of how we can, you know, take the reins back and really equipped everyone to have a proper education. Anyone of any background, we see so often in the school system that, different areas around have different finances, and sometimes that inhibits
go ahead. I can hear
learn
you.
and develop, and that should never be the case. A child should always have an equal opportunity to learn and be equipped with what they need to succeed in the future. And so that's what we are aiming to do, is to figure out, who is in need the most and to help them succeed in life and equip them with the abilities that they need.
And I did this program. I think I met with you and Mitchell one time, and we had this set up very well, and you had broke it down to me and how it works. For those that don't know that is, can you explain
Yeah.
in details what that is?
Of course. So perhaps you remember, Haji, back when you were in school and you had to study for your exams and the tests. And maybe you stay up all night studying, or you do flashcards, and you read the book over and over, trying to memorize the information. But then after you take the test, how much of the information do you really remember? If you're like most people, if some classes you remember a bit more, but for most of the stuff you learn in school, you remember it for the test, and then a week or two later, you forget most of it. Now, ask yourself this: do you want yourself or your family or your community to just memorize stuff and forget it, or actually really know how things work? So what we have is a software that takes everything in the education system from kindergarten through up through grade 12, university, and beyond. We're adding Spanish, law, medical sciences. One of my friends is working on adding Arabic so that you can learn anything you want rapidly, and we take it to the know part of the brain. So like, just to make it very simple, if I were to ask you, what's your name? You just know your name. You don't have to memorize or think. It's just instant. It's second nature. That's what we do with Technotutor. We have a proprietary technology that takes everything to the knowing part of the brain. So now we have children, for example, that are 4 years old reading above 5 years ahead of where they should be. We have students that have gone from having D's and F's in school, struggling, parents just crying. Everything is so tough and frustrating to these children now. One of them just graduated from Stanford, which is an elite university here in the United States. And another one got a full scholarship to Oxford University and Cambridge University over in the United Kingdom. So this is real stuff that we're doing, totally transforming people's lives through technology and through support. It's really phenomenal.
So if somebody wanted to, okay, so you also make this available to people who are outside the US, international. And how do you approach that? And how do you go about that? And have you been successful? And also, as I understand historically, can you give a little bit of background of this system and how it works? A little bit, just the background.
Yeah. So the software itself was developed in South Africa, where there's extreme inequality, especially racial differences in education and parents' levels of wealth indicates that certain kids had a better opportunity than others. So the development of the technology came about in understanding how do we actually support kids, and it's two things: the ability to read quickly and understand material, and the second is the amount of vocabulary that child has. Basically, you can look in all the research, Daniel Seidenberg's work, Johnson O'Connor's work, that the more that a child knows, the more words that a child has that's part of them. The more success they have in school, the better colleges they get into, and the more money they make. So that's the real focus, is helping children develop their vocabulary and their ability to read and process information. So that's what the technology is based on. Now, to your point, Haji, about working internationally, we have distributors around the world in 4 different continents. The company's been around for over 7 years. We've had over 10 years of testing. So it's proven and it's here. And we have a gentleman that I was working with is from Somalia, and he intends to bring it back to Somalia. He lives here in the United States right now. Another gentleman from Egypt. My best friend, Mustafa, his family's from Yemen. And so he lives out in Brooklyn, New York right now. But when he goes to visit Yemen, he will bring Technotutor with him to rebuild the education system over there. So it's really just a connection away to myself or to Jessica, which we can leave our contact information in this live stream, and then connect with us, and we can actually show it to you, whether we just get on a phone call or if we're able to meet in person or to connect with you with someone so you can see it in person. You can see the power of the tool itself, what it can do for you, your family, and the world.
Yeah, and so important right now we see with all these political campaigns and everybody talking about all these different policies that they want to address, nobody's really addressing the inequality in education. And if we don't first address that, we won't be able to truly make any difference anywhere else because nobody will be educated to do so. Future generations won't know how to go into politics. And people just won't be able to elect the correct people because they aren't even equipped to understand what they're doing. So I just see it so important, so vital that we can educate people of all backgrounds to understand how they can contribute to society and how maybe society isn't fully adhering to their culture. Here in America, especially, we're in a land of the free, a land where anybody can come and express themselves freely. And people need to understand that. People need to, be educated in how to adhere to different cultures around them. I've heard so many stories of, especially in the education system, teachers who just simply don't understand that there's cultural differences and that, certain people of different backgrounds need to be excused to go pray at different times, or they can't eat certain things, or they won't be in school at certain times in the year because of different traditions that their family has. And so it's like they require you, oh, you have to have a slip for that. You have to, it has to be official. And it's like, okay, at the beginning of the year, if they need to just say like, this is what I believe in, if later on, like that changes, like, so be it. But it's definitely a big thing that we see in the education system right now. And so that's, starting from the teachers to equipping the children to have the confidence to speak out and to, have the self-esteem that they know that they can learn anything, no matter who they are, of what background.
And one other point on this, so the research has just come out for last year, are the reading rates here in Minnesota and around the US. And in the United States and in Minnesota specifically, there's such a huge gap with kids. Even before coronavirus really happened, where only 58% of students are reading proficiently by 10th grade. That's 42% of kids are behind in reading, and that has huge implication. And then there's an even bigger gap between white students and black students, where white students right now are at 66% proficiency, black students at 33%. So we're addressing this firsthand, and for anyone who wants to be part of this, connect with us because we have groups in South Minneapolis, we're working on North Minneapolis, where we can have real education, real mentorship for the youth, and opportunities for people to work, make money, build their career, all while doing good for the community.
That was Jessica and Mitchell talking to us the importance and how we can best, for now, and you can get more information from them, how best we can revolutionize our education. It's just one idea among many ideas. I know people have different ideas on how we want to change and bring education to a point where everybody is equally represented. And one of them, I was actually really interested in this program, and that's why I wanted to share with my audience out there so they can really make a judgment for themselves, that they can go out and maybe be curious and want to know more and can reach out to you guys and talk to you guys about this. So is it an app as well that you can use it on your phone, you can download and do it, or is it more like what you had told me?
Yeah, it's a computer software. The power required of a computer is such that it can only work on a computer. We're always changing, but it is a computer software, and we can show you in person what it looks like.
Jessica, you have something to say?
No, I guess it's really something that you won't be able to understand unless you see it in person, because there's nothing out there that I found like it. For years of my life, I tried to figure out how I could be a better speller and read more proficiently and all these things. But, no, all the apps out there and all the different programs and people just really didn't fundamentally support me. And until I found Technotutor. And I literally have found out that I had dyslexia. Like, that's why I was struggling so much. And now I can actually fundamentally change that for myself and support myself to work through those things. And it has had a profound impact on my life. And not only in my ability to read, but just in my overall day, how I carry myself and the confidence that I have throughout life. And so, yeah, I couldn't emphasize this more to anyone who has any of those traits that they'd like to address, or, feel this system of education is not properly equipping them with a world that is being taken over through automation. We are here to support you fundamentally.
And that's a very important point you made, about people also with the I've seen, I did the test, so I know how powerful this tool can be. So if you're curious and you're watching and you want to know about this, I will share the information of both Mitchell and Jessica, and then you can inquire. If you have more inquiries, you can reach out to me and I can direct you to the right place. Thank you, both of you, for joining me this evening. I really appreciate your time. This morning, actually, before noon. Thank you very much. I know it's not busy time, but hopefully later on people can catch up and watch the show. Thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Haji.
Thank you, Haji.